Okay, g'day and aloha.
Aloha.
Welcome to my presentation. Today, by the end of today, you'll come to understand what the Quadruple Helix Approach is. Okay, it is a model and it is an approach focused on this word right here, innovation. So the rest of it is a catalyst for sustainable regional innovation and development in Australia. So what is it? It is a model that promotes collaboration, knowledge sharing for innovation. Why is it important? We need society to participate in it. The original design is just between government, industry, and education, and they push out community. But I'm here to argue that we need all four for all of us to participate with that indigenous knowledge that I'll be focusing on today to get a true innovation. Secondly, when the society participates, we'll be building a sustainable mindset individually with every single one of them. That is very important because it changes the way you think, how you view the world, yourself, and everyone around you to make change. Lastly, we want to promote social responsibility, so by the end of today, we want you to go home, go in your closets, get down on your knees and pray, and find ways that you can be a social innovator. Okay, this is the outline, and this is the question that I focused my research on. The success of the Quadruple Helix model in Australia, specifically for the Indigenous people of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander. These three objectives is finding ways that it can address current challenges, investigating the stakeholder interactions, and, like I said, adopting that sustainability mindset. These three men, I'm going to start off with this one. This right here, this is Uncle Percy Neal. I worked for him. I know him personally. And he represents 16,000 years of history from a group of people from Africa moving down from Philippines to Indonesia and across Australia. And guess what? That's where Aboriginals come from. We come from Africa, and we're also Filipino, Indonesian, we have that mix. Aboriginals are the most marginalized people, ethnic groups in the world. But this man right here, he has a vision to create economic opportunities that are yet to be fulfilled. And I'm excited because I'm going to be working with that man and applying this research very soon. Secondly, ate. That word ate in my language, my Torres Strait language, means great-grandfather. This is my great-grandfather, and he was the first to leave the islands located between the tip of Australia and Papua New Guinea. Those islands are called Torres Strait. When he left the laziness and all of the problems that living in a bubble mindset, and he became an entrepreneur in 3 different industries, and his vision was to create regional development. Lastly, this is my ate, and you would have seen my son just before. He was named after him. He was an entrepreneur in fisheries, recycling, and all of these 3 were community heroes, and they're my heroes of innovation and change. Now, focusing on the literature review. The literature review, what I've found in my research is 2 things. An emphasis of greater collaboration and a balance for economic growth for environment and also social welfare. However, further study needs to be completed to understand the relationships and the interactions between 4 helixes. I do note that there are gaps and limitations in my research, in any research. We're all humans, and our views are distinct. So there's limited Indigenous community engagement, participation, also the funding and resources. That's the main thing of why we're here. When we have a good idea, we need to see people that can support us so that we can scale it. But that's a big problem in Australia. Here's the methodology. Stage 1. Okay, I said I already covered the literature review, but we found that the Australian government has led many successful projects incorporating the Quadruple Helix model, but with limited to no Indigenous knowledge and collaboration. That is a problem. Focusing on stage 2, this is the exciting part because I am planning to go to Australia to make qualitative research so I can do in-person interviews, group presentations, and thematic analysis, basically find the formula and the pattern so I can bring it back here and study it more. Here are further limitations, and here's the question. Can this study be duplicated in other countries? That's the main question, that why I'm standing here today. Other ethical considerations, because I'm an Indigenous Australian, trust, privacy, confidentiality, and sensitivity are the most and forefront sensitive ways when a researcher goes into a community and conducts this research. That is very important to consider. Now here are the results. I put past, present, and future because, like I said, I've learned from the past, from the literature review of holistically looking at problem solving. We're looking at the present circumstances and cases that are doing right now at the Australian government. But future, that word right here, I wanted to focus on it with the Indigenous lens. We're able to look at problems with the lens, with their lens. Why would you get an outsider to come tell you what you need when you're not even talking and collaborating with them? That is useless and abominable, and I'm here to argue that we need all four to participate in this. Lastly, I need to also be aware of my self-awareness and biases and views that can potentially compromise that research. All right, now here's for you employers, future stakeholders in this problem and potential funders that I'm presenting today and pitching. I'm here to tell you that this quadruple helix model of my research can enhance diversity and inclusivity across your organization. We're talking about business, job opportunities, prioritizing economic and critical areas in your organizations. How can this be implemented? Supportive policies, fostering innovation, allowing for autonomy and dreamers to think, dreamers to dream. Ongoing collaboration, monitoring, and evaluation is very important, tracking and measuring your steps. And lastly, how can this be sustainable? When we adopt these practices, we prioritize environments and social well-being, and then we promote collaboration. That's how this can be successful in your company, in your organization or school, or even in your country. Lastly, here's my favorite part. This is the timeline, okay? And I'm aiming for these two big guys right here and also the Australian government. 1, by July, I'm planning to do a data collection on stage 2, like I mentioned before, or doing the qualitative research and thematic analysis in Australia. Number 2 is to bring that analysis back, and with the year that I have to, of school, to analyze this data and research with some of the professors that are actually in this room. Thirdly, I'm looking at to automate and accelerate. Technology is something that we need to consider, and if we can bring technology and enhance it through engineers, with some of you are here, that is world changing. That is the purpose of this university, to change the world problems through decisive leadership. Okay, fall and winter, I'm aiming big. I've been waiting for 4 years with this study and research to hit these two guys, but I was never ready. I didn't want to do flip-flops or doing bee honey, no offense, but I want to go big. Each of you here today want to go big and change the world, so you need to do your research, and more information brings more inspiration. Change the world with inspiration, and mine started with prayer. Lastly, when I do my internship for the government, Australian government, Minister of Commerce, I'll be able to propose some of this research and some of my services, or whatever you call it, at the end of this year, which is very exciting by this time, winter next year. And lastly, launching and scaling a business idea with this venture, that is my one dream. So in conclusion, the legacy, academic work, and meaningful change of the Kumu Vai Sustainable Center, answering these questions. My roots, those 3 men, the indigenous knowledge that ranges from thousands of years, have prepared me for this moment. This is my legacy. They carried me and my understanding at the feet, to listen to them, to observe the work and entrepreneurial adventures that they're doing, which isn't entrepreneurial at all, because entrepreneurship is different from innovation. Let's change it to innovation, because innovation is social change. They changed my life and they lift me up. And so can I do with my son in future generations. And with the quote of our great prophet David O. McKay, who started and established this institution, no other success can compensate for failure in the home. So sustainability, what this conference is about, it all starts in the home. That is true sustainability. In any culture you will find it, any indigenous knowledge that you will scale, and any collaboration and communication that you can find, seek, or understand, is in the end, all cultures work towards the home. Those 3 men, they left home
so that they can provide for their families. And sustainability is within all of us. Thank you.